Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and a new type of Dungeons and Dragons canon. So, I'm gonna say it right here. I believe that I, Scott Garibay, am the foremost expert on Dungeons and Dragons canon. What? Isn't there some dude who's written a bunch of academic books about Dungeons and Dragons? He don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons canon. I can tell you that right now. There is a foremost academic there is a foremost historical expert on Dungeons and Dragons history. I think he gets a lot wrong, but he also gets a lot right, and he is recognized as an expert in the field, right? But there is no one, in my opinion, who has any credentials on D&D canon. I don't even think we have the language to discuss Dungeons and Dragons canon yet. Dungeons and Dragons canon is outrageously complex. It is the ultimate combination of science and art, and I believe I am the foremost expert in the world on D&D canon. Scott, how could that possibly be? Well, it has to do with intellectual property infiltration. It is my humble opinion that Dungeons and Dragons, unlike any other product in the world, has infiltrated multiple, literally over 1,000 intellectual properties. I'm very convinced that there are global corporations that do not know the worlds they own are literally Dungeons and Dragons canon, okay? And you're like, wait, that's really weird, Scott. It is weird. It is outrageously weird. Why did it happen? It happened because for the first time in history, someone inverted boilerplate and fine print. Okay, so you know this. It's happened to you, right? Like, you went to get something that you really needed and that you really wanted, and they were like, in order to get this, you have to sign this paper, right? And you're like, but what's in the paper? And they're like, it's 20 pages long. Your appointment is in 15 minutes. Do you want to start reading it now? And you're like, no, I don't care what's in there. It's a bunch of fine print. It's a bunch of boilerplate. I don't care what's in it. I'm going to sign it, right? And this has happened a million times, right? Where executives hack the common man, the common woman, the lay person, right? Happens all the time. Well, on Dungeons and Dragons, it's the first time this has ever been flipped. And artists hack the suits. Who did it specifically? It's multiple people. Multiple people are responsible for it, but the person who did it more than anybody, in my humble opinion, is James Wyatt. That guy knows what he's doing. And he has done things on D&D canon that nobody even recognizes. If you watch my 10,000 videos, you'll know them. Right? Okay. That's not a joke. That's literally the number, right? And you're like, that's a lot, Scott. Can't you summarize it? No, this ain't for casuals. If you don't want to watch 10,000 videos, fine. Dungeon dudes are down the hall on the left. Enjoy. All right. Let's keep going. All right. So basically, Dungeons and Dragons canon is outrageously complicated. Now, I have already categorized Dungeons and Dragons canon right here on this channel, baby. Right? It's here. And you just gotta do some Googling to find them. And you're like, wait a second, Scott, that's gonna be hard to find. Yeah, guess what? My channel has become like a cool independent bookstore, right? I have so much stuff, so many gems. You're gonna have to search, right? Like, nobody on the planet has watched all my content. Like, you gotta go through the stacks to find my gems, right? Like, and you're like, Scott, shouldn't you do something? No, I've done enough work. I've done the 10,000 videos. Somebody else can organize it. All right, here we go. You could do the work of going through the stacks, okay? You don't want to? Dungeon dudes are down the hall on the left. Love you. All right. Okay, here we go. All right, so today we're going to talk about a new type of D&D canon. A new type of D&D canon? Yes, that's right. A new type of Dungeons and Dragons canon. Yes, that's right. All right, let's get into it. Okay. All right, so what is it? It's Infra-Canon. Infra-Canon? What's that, Scott? Infrastructural canon. Infrastructural canon. All right, now what brought this about? Surprisingly, what brought this about was Space Marines. Well, actually, sorry. Let me get all the way there. 40K's DK guide. What? How would that bring it about, Scott? That's a good question. Let me tell you. All right, so this came out in 2024. It cost $45 USD. I don't even own it yet. I read it. I sat down and read a good bit of it at specifically at where did I read it? That's a good question. Oh, I read it at Barnes and Nobles, and it's phenomenal. It is. So what is it? So first of all, if you don't know what a DK book is, have you been living in a cave? DK is incredible. DK is a summary, is a literary summary force, right? Is a force to be reckoned with. DK does okay, and so what do? They take massive intellectual properties that are chock full of lore, and then what they do is they convert them down into like a Reader's Digest. DK is a Reader's Digest of unwieldy, unmanageable, back-breaking lore, okay? And DK does a better job than anyone in the world at mastering this and doing they do such an incredible job. So first of all, I use DK very extensively for tabletop role-playing games. So I play Dungeons & Dragons. I run Dungeons & Dragons Marvel worlds, Dungeons & Dragons DC worlds, and I also run mixed, right? And I've done campaigns in all of them using Dungeons & Dragons, right? And I use the DK books that each have 1,000. The DK book has 1,000 Marvel heroes, and the DK book has 1,000. The DK Marvel book has 1,000 Marvel heroes. The DK DC book has 1,000 Marvel heroes. These books are phenomenal. Wait, Scott, did they do a Dungeons & Dragons DK book? They have not. They have not. They did do a DK book for Dritz-Stewart, and it is absolutely functioning today as Infra-Canon for the Legends of Dritz-Stewart. So if you want to know the history of Dritz-Stewart, both the product history and the lore, the DK book will explain it to you. There's no better source to learn in a reasonable amount of time at the right level of detail about Dritz-Stewart. It is Infra-Canon, okay? Now, we actually don't have Infra-Canon through DK yet for Dungeons & Dragons. So what do we have? That's a good question. So actually, hold on. Let's finish talking about the Warhammer 40K DK book. First of all, we need that book for Dungeons & Dragons. We need that book for Dungeons & Dragons. And second of all, if you even have a remote interest in Warhammer 40K, you got to get that book. It is phenomenal, right? Well, Scott, didn't you say you don't own it? The only reason I don't own it is I can't, if I spend money on every book I want to own, I won't be able to eat. I will literally starve to death, right? So this is, I have not bought this book because I wish to remain alive. It is that, I cannot buy every book I want. It's just, it would be physically dangerous to me. I would starve to death, right? All right, let's keep moving here. So I will have this book at some point, no question, okay? In fact, I got to figure out some way to get it at the absolute cheapest price. All right, okay. So all that, and I'll probably ask for Christmas. All right, yeah, that'll probably be good. Jesus will give me Jesus will be responsible for getting me the DK Warhammer book. All right, but it is phenomenal, and it really establishes Infra-Canon. So basically 1977 was the start of Warhammer 40K. I know that because it said it in the book, right? And so basically Warhammer is literally 3 years younger than Dungeons & Dragons. So it's 47 years old, right? So they have 47 years of lore. Well, the great thing about this is DK went through and they just studied everything. And then they presented the entire scope of Warhammer 40K in one book, one 335-page book, and they did it with miniatures. It is perfect. It is absolutely perfect It's phenomenal, right? And it's perfect Infra-Canon. It is all canon because it's all official, but it is a reasonable summary of the Warhammer 40K world. But it's also done by experts who care, and that's a big deal. Experts who care are rare. DK is very good at finding them, right? And they did a phenomenal job on this, and this book is masterful. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. Now, okay, so that is what Infra-Canon is. So do we have that for Dungeons and Dragons right now? We do not. We do not have the Infra-Canon we need yet. Okay, we need DK to do the book. They haven't done it yet, and they may never do the book. So what is D&D Infra-Canon right now? So first of all, the DK book on Dritzdorn counts. So part of Dungeons and Dragons is actually correctly Infra-Canon. Okay. Now, what about just general Dungeons and Dragons? What's the correct Infra-Canon for that? Ideally, we would have a DK book. We don't, but we do have Dungeons and Dragons Infra-Canon. What is it? It is Matt Forbeck's phenomenal Young Adventurer's Guide series. It is now up to 12 books. I own them all, and it is fantastic. And I need to tell, okay, so now that we're all the way there, and I explained what actually is Infra-Canon for D&D, let's talk about what Infra-Canon is. Infra-Canon is what matters in the canon of Dungeons and Dragons, okay? And what matters in the canon of Warhammer 40K. So basically you have canon. The companies are absolutely abominable at managing their own canon. They literally can't. And the reason why is they're at the behest of suits. And right now, every serious canon, every serious intellectual property canon in the world is a battle between the artists and the suits, right? And the artists want to go ham and just throw everything in, right? Like Star Wars has a green rabbit now. That's a problem, right? Like, but that green rabbit, you will never find that in a DK book. You'll never find that in a DK book because it's canon that doesn't matter. It's canon, but it doesn't matter, right? And so this is the point of Infra-Canon. Infra-Canon, yeah, some people want to know all canon. Most people want to know the canon that matters. And that's what Infra-Canon is. And right now that has been perfected on Warhammer 40K. The DK book, the DK Warhammer 40K book is the perfect Infra-Canon. We need that on Dungeons & Dragons. It does not exist, but the closest thing you can get right now, and it is very good, is the Young Adventurer's Guide, those 12 books, right? And more of them are coming out, which is also excellent, okay? So that is what Infra-Canon is. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. Get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.